What's going on, boys? NealGuides here. Welcome back to another video. I want to have a quick look at this freeze promo just to see what new cards have actually come out in the game. Now, I know there is some new meta cards that have come out, but I wanted to go through all of them just to give you a bit of a take. So if you want to see a specific player that you actually came here to see, feel free to skip through them, but I'll be going through every player anyway. So we're going to go, so the best way I do is I go FIFA 21, new FIFA 21 players, and then you choose like gold players. That's what I do, and you can see all the players like so. So we're going to open them all up. So Golovin, Rodriguez, Mane, Nani, Balassi, Torreira, which looks very good, Thorgan, Marquinhos, SPC, Martinez, Lautaro Martinez, Verratti, Casemiro, Bernardo Silva, Mane, and of course we're just going to open Bruno Fernandes, the player of the month anyway, even though he's not really included. This card is very expensive. If you want, just buy this card instead. At least this card is a tradable version, may potentially get upgraded, and I do think he's then a better value for money, and that way you can sell him if things go astray and you don't really like him in game. So get that one instead of that player of the month. I got the first one, Mr. Golovin, 4-star, decent player, right back. You know what? You put a shadow on him. He actually looks pretty decent. You know what? I was actually I didn't realize he's a right back. You know what? This Golovin card might be a really good right back. Because, you know, I'm thinking Monaco, Ligue 1. In fact, he could fit into my team very well. In fact, I might actually consider putting him in my team because he also gets a link to Gelson Martinez. And I think, honestly, for the price of 34,000, he's an absolute still top tier agility and balance as well. Unfortunately, Mokiele's in that position, so he may have to get replaced, and he's right-footed. I think, you know what? I think he's a very good card. I mean, I think he's an absolute still for 30. This is the issue, right? Players, especially in Ligue 1, there isn't that many good players in Ligue 1, so you're kind of stuck. So I think if you just have a single nation squad, you haven't got Mokiele. I think Florenzi obviously is not even worth it. I think definitely go with Golovin. Top tier cards, really good stand tackling and slide tackling, and of course you put a shadow on him, and it becomes one of the top tier cards, 5'11", and of course has that amazing stat. In fact, maybe you can even play centre back. We'll have a look into that later on today. Moving over to Rodriguez. To be honest, Syria, another very good card. 3-star, and maybe not the best with a shadow, and maybe you can make a good centre mid, or I would say more of a defensive player, medium high. I think, you know, when you put a shadow on him, he can be a defensive CDM. I think for 27k is worth the money. If you have a Syria team, I think he works that position very well. Of course, he's in competition with Emre Can, who's also very good. So they're both really well. I mean, either one of those are fine. But if you have the money, go ahead and go for him. Why not? He's 27k. You can't. Some things, like, you know, they might not be the best card in that position, but for 27k, you can't say no. We've got Sane. Did you just put a shadow on him? Can he work there? Even with a hunter? No. So realistically, with a shadow again, we've got Sane, another Bundesliga player. I would go Rodriguez instead of Sane just because he's got better stats overall. So if you're going to choose out of these two, you're better off just going with Rodriguez. I think he's the better card over here as opposed to Sane. So definitely I would say just go with, yeah, I would say definitely, because you see the problem is with this card over here is that Rodriguez offers just a tad bit more. You know, he's got a bit better dribbling all around, whereas Sane's reactions are much better. And in terms of the passing, Rodriguez's passing is much better as well. So I would just say just go with Rodriguez as opposed to getting Sane. Now we have Nani, 57,000, 5-star MLS. Unfortunately, his sprint speed really lets him down. I mean, if you got an MLS team, he's not too bad. I mean, with a hunter, he's actually a really good player. Terrible stamina. I couldn't imagine using him anywhere else apart from a cam role. Maybe you can play in striker actually, because there isn't that many good MLS strikers. So you got an MLS team, you can very much slot him in. Balassi, this is the objective. Is he 5-star, 3-star? You know what? He's a decent sub. I can't see him as a starter per se. Maybe as a cam you can play him. 6'1", hasn't got the best agility balance. I mean, considering the Premier League, I prefer to have someone like Lucas Moura who's very agile on the ball as opposed to Balassi. But if you want to play him in the cam role, you can. As a sub, he's a free card. He's not too bad doing. If you're going to use him as a sub, get him on 5 chemistry, and I'll say probably put an engine on him, just to get a little bit of that agility and balance up as well. And that way you can just get hopefully a better card. So a tiny bit of pace. As a sub, he's not too bad. Would I be using him? Probably not. I don't think he's much of a starter. If you haven't got the best of team, let's say you got a very weak team at this stage, or let's say you started joining FIFA very late and during December time, you can of course purchase Bolasie. He is actually very, very cheap, or he's free basically, but he's a very good player that can be used as opposed to any other cheap player. So yes, use him in your team. But not as a striker, because he does have that 3-star weak foot, which is honestly appalling. Now this is one card that I was actually very interested in seeing. Now he is short at 5'6". He is very, very short, but that argument is not really a big argument, because I use Kamara in left back and he is honestly a tremendously good player. Now Kamara is also 5'6", so the question is, why would you play him at left back? Well, this is not FIFA 19. Crosses are not that prevalent this year, and if they are driven crosses, which are most of the time they are chest height or knee height. They're always below the head for the average player. So I'll be honest, having someone 5'6", if it's basically chest height, they can just header it away. So you can argue it's better to have someone shorter in some respect. But most driven crosses are either ground or I would say chest height. I would say definitely go with the shadow on him. With the shadow, it looks like a very, very good card. I think this one makes him, because don't forget, I would say, or in La Liga in general, there isn't that many good left backs. You have Mendy, and that's about it. Jordi Alba, Mendy. There isn't anyone else. But on the right back, it's even more of an issue. You just have Navas. So if you can play Torreira as a right back off chemistry on 7 chemistry, I think he makes a very, very good right back. So in this situation, I'll play. Do you know what? If you could have Mendy in your team, if you could have Mendy and Torreira, maybe I'll play Mendy off chemistry and then play Torreira on full chemistry, just to give him that full boost. And don't forget, he is left-footed as well, whereas Mendy is 5-star weak foot, so he can play on the right-hand side. Moving over to Mr. Thorgan Hazard, 247k, and actually a very good. What's his stamina? 85. You know what? He's a good card. Slap a hunter on him. He can play as a wing. Even as a player, he can even play as a striker, to be honest. But I'd probably use him in a wing type role, or even, for example, as a left wing or right wing, or even as a central striker, or even as a cam. In fact, I can think he can play. Is he outside of first shot trait? He does not, but I think he can with the hunter. If you can get him on even 8 chemistry, that's just one out of 3 links. I think he's also a formidable player. 4-star, high attacking work rate, 5'9", good agility and balance, amazing sprint speed, amazing finishing. Honestly, the definition of meta is what I would say. Good short passing as well, good curve. So I would say all around a top tier card. For 250k, I think he's very much worth it, especially coming towards Team of the Year. Yes, you can argue there's better cards in other leagues. Someone like Neymar is good, but for his price, if he was 600k, 500k, I would say no. But I think for his price, he's very, very, very good. He would actually be a good link to Marquinhos. Now, a good link, sorry, should I say, to Emre Can. Now, this Marquinhos, I have my reservations. I prefer Renato Sanchez and Kante as my centre mids. Kante is a more defensive player, and Renato Sanchez in form will go forward. Now, this is the thing. 3-star. He's not a playmaker centre mid. He is more of a defensive centre mid. Deep lying, can hold the ball, pass the ball with amazing short and long passing. I think realistically speaking, if you put him on a shadow, he has to be on full chemistry. I'm thinking a hyperlink here to Neymar. Obviously, they're both Brazilian, both in PSG, both in League and Uber Eats League. So I think, you got a perfect super. Is it a hyperlink or superlink, whatever it's called? So I think he's very, very good. I mean, that's the person, perfect link to Neymar. I mean, it's the perfect combination you want. What I would say though is he's a defensive player. I would say you can try to put an engine on him, but realistically in the shadow, that sprint speed is not good enough. 91 makes it viable, but anything less, I don't think he's worth it. Yes, I'll say definitely do him if you've got the time, if you've got the money. 150k, if you've got the fodder, he might be worth doing. Maybe just hold off for him just until like the 16th, just to see if there's any other better cards that come out, because it could be a better card that might come out on Saturday. So don't rush ahead and go do him before this weekend league. I would say just give it some time. Now, Lautaro Martinez, that is actually 5'9", 4-star. That is actually a very meta card. Look at that dribbling, 85 balance. If you put an engine on that, it actually becomes a really, really good card. Even a hunter engine. The key thing with him is, yes, he's a very good card. He hasn't got the best stamina. Is he worth 500k? I think not. I think Thorgan Hazard is a better buy. Realistically speaking, no one really's got a Serie A team. But if you have a Serie A team, I'd recommend obviously playing Neymar. Well, Neymar's always double the price, but he's no Neymar. He hasn't got a 5-star weak foot. So if you had a 5-star weak foot, maybe I'll say it justifies the price tag. But 500k I don't think is worth it. Yes, he's a very good winger, but of course with the stamina issue, I don't think he's a good winger per se. So I wouldn't say he's a card that's worth going for unless you've got a Serie A team. That's kind of my verdict on Lautaro Martinez. Of course, he's a very good meta card. Apart from that, good sprint speed, good agility balance. He's a good dribbler. Maybe you can play in a cam. If you have a lot of money and you have a Serie A team, let's say you're a Serie A fan, you can play him in that cam role. I think when you put an engine on him or you put a finisher on him, he does make a very, very good cam. Maybe you can look into something like that with a finisher chemistry style. Moving over to Bernardo Silva, an absolute, well, the problem is he's too slow. That is the honest truth. Even as a hunter with a 4-star, of course he's the Premier League tax on him. The pace is just too slow in my opinion. Is he a meta card? Very much so. In fact, I think he'll be a very, very good cam. The only position that you can realistically play is that cam role. So if you can start him in that position, then basically leave him in that cam role. I think he's a good cam in the Premier League. Maybe someone like Son in front of him. But is he worth the money? For 700k, you're talking about you spend 100k more and you could purchase the likes of Neymar. Now, I'd rather have Neymar on 8 chemistry over Bernardo Silva just because he's much better overall. So that's the question you got to make, or 200k should I say. That's the kind of decision you got to make. I would say, well, Neymar's obviously gone back up again. I knew he would shoot back up again. Everyone was saying Neymar was going down. Of course, he will never go down. Not below this anyway, because, you know, don't forget, he's still a meta player, one of the top tier players in the game. So yes, he's gone back up for the weekend league. Maybe might stabilize it around that price when Team of the Year comes out. But yes, I think it's a very good card. I wouldn't get him otherwise. I think there's other players out there that are better than him. But if you're a Premier League team only, he's worth it. Otherwise, if you don't, you're going for hybrids. Save your money, get 200k extra, and go ahead and buy Neymar. Now, Verratti, left mid. Nice, sprint speed 83. See, a lot of it, this is the thing, these small things, like this is the thing, right? Yes, when you put a hunter on him, it gives him the boost of 93. But I still think 93 is like the minimum you want for a winger, in my opinion, to beat a left back or right back anyway. So 5'5", 4-star. With that outside foot shot trait as well. Good, decent stamina. I mean, you know what? You can maybe play him. You know, let's be honest. Neymar is by default the left mid, right? So you're gonna have to play this guy off chemistry. If you got money in your team, you're gonna put Neymar in left wing. Let's be honest. So you're not gonna put Verratti there. So he's gonna get either 7 chemistry at the very most. You put a 7 chemistry to hunt on him, 89 sprint speed. I mean, maybe as a cam. You know what? Maybe as a cam. You know, if I had him in my team, if I played him, maybe I'll play him behind Neymar. Maybe that would make a very, very good cam or a second striker. I think maybe with a hunter, he can make a good second striker, very good at dribbling, good agility balance, and very, very good passing. But would I use him as an actual winger? Probably not. That's kind of give my verdict on there. And the last two players, Casemiro, centre back, hunter. He looks very, very good, but I think Varane will be better. And agility and balance is all honestly very, very poor. I'm not a big fan of the agility and balance. I just think, you know what, you both just go with someone like Varane or Eder Militao or Diego Carlos. Diego Carlos is a cheap version of this, or even a Jimenez card. Jimenez card, you can argue for the price. He's not. If he was 200k, I'd be like, you know what, maybe he's worth throwing for him. But if we go to Jimenez, you can argue better pace as well and very, very good stats with a shadow anyway. So I think definitely go for Jimenez as opposed to Casemiro. And the last card we have is Mane. He's got obviously that Premier League tax, 4-star. A top tier card. I'm not gonna lie, he's a top tier card. Is he worth 2.5 million? No, I don't think he's 2.5 million. Maybe 1.5 million. But 2.5 million is really, really stretching it. If you're talking about 2.5 million, just to give you a bit of an insight, there is players out there that are available that cost better than him. There's even icons that are better than him for 2 million. So just going to put the price, just to give you a bit of insight. So whenever you're looking at a player and you think, okay, is he worth it? So we're going to put 2 million in. I'm going to filter by price. So this all the cards worth 2 million. We're going to go highest first and we're going to go lowest, right? So for 2.6 million, right? So for 2.6 million, let's see who you can get instead of him, right? So 2.6 million, you can get Puskas, which maybe you can argue maybe is not as good as him because that 3-star weak foot. Eto. Now, I think realistically, Eto is probably going to be a better card, maybe a tad bit better card than him. Actually, maybe not. Maybe. Hang on, let's have a look. Obviously, Eto is obviously an icon. So obviously he's got that tax rate as well. You got, okay, so realistically 2.4, you can't, that's not worth it. Maradona, would I have Maradona or would I have Butragueño with a 5-star weak foot? If you're comparing Butragueño to Mane, which one would I have? I mean, realistically, I would just go with, realistically speaking, I'd realistically go with Mane because, and Butragueño because he's got a 5-star weak foot. So let's just compare these two because I think they're both strikers. It might be the most accurate representation, I would say, of two strikers that would go into your team. two of them that are very similar in price. Obviously he gives all the links, information. Okay, he's got a 4-star. The benefit is he does have a 4-star skills. He does have high attack and work rates. Hasn't really got that many specialities, well, not that I know of. Does have the finesse shot trait, which is not that important this year. Pace same, finishing very much the same, bit more shot power. Passing, you can argue is very similar. There's not too much. The curve is very similar, so there's not too much at stake. Better long passing. Maybe as a cam, Mane might be better. Then I'm looking at the agility and balance. They're almost exactly the same if you think about if you balance out the play. And then the physicality goes towards Mane. But then what really strikes Butragueño above is that 5-star weak foot and the fact he can give links all around. Is he worth the money? Do I think he's worth 2 million? I would say Mane maybe 1.5. I would say at the very most you're pushing, I would say maybe 2, maybe. But I'll be honest, when you're delving around the 2.5 million territory, you know, you got Cruyff here as well, who might come down in price as well. I don't think he's worth it for the money. So yes, unless you have a lot of money and you got a strong Premier League team, don't do Mane. Otherwise, just go ahead and get someone like an icon. It's better off because I'll be honest, look, let's say that inform Mane, do you want to play him in striker with a 4-star weak foot? I think someone like Ronaldo will be better than him anyway in striker. So that's the thing you got to work out. But that's kind of my take. His team of the year last year was very good. So we'll see how that works. But as I said, guys, thanks very much for watching. Take it easy, and I'll catch you next time. Hope you enjoyed this video in terms of going over who is worth it and who is not. Take it easy, boys, and thanks for watching.